between the real offers. Because you know that everybody, you go on a visit, all of a sudden you see a tweet says it's off. I don't think they understand that there's levels to it.
True. And nowadays, like, the thing is, like, they do it to the young guys so much, and it really don't mean nothing.
And when we get into that, right, so we're talking about that, first of all, there's levels to recruit. Right?
You gonna segue it or you want?
No, we
Oh, good.
Because I'm talking.
I want to make sure you ain't.
So I want to, and I want to, like, when we talking about, let's get into the real, like, meats and potatoes of the recruiting, because you see, like, this area has become a highly recruited area. But what the parents don't understand, that there's rules, there's regulations, there's deadlines, things of that nature. What is the true first official? Like, what is the first official day that a child can receive an official offer?
It's the summer going into their junior year.
So the summer.
Yeah.
So anything beforehand, you see a sophomore or freshman saying, I got an offer from here, I got an offer from there. I say it's an offer of interest.
Yeah.
Not necessarily an offer as far as a scholarship offer.
So even more so, I would say this, right? It's a school admitting they see your potential. And that's what I tell my kids, right?
Okay.
You still got to reach that potential. If you don't reach that potential, they're going to act like they don't know you.
So when they holler at you as a freshman or a sophomore, that's them basically saying we see you on our watch list.
And we don't want to be the last ones if you do turn into this.
Because we want to be on top. Even though you might be on the bottom of our list, we want to be on the top of your list.
And I've seen with guys have a bunch of offers that even play with me as freshmen, and then when they get to the end, they ain't got but these two. Because those schools, as far as they concerned, you didn't pan out how they thought you would.
So do you think that's what happens to a lot of kids? Because we see a lot of kids, right? And we've seen it. We've seen a lot of kids where their freshman year, they got 4 or 5 offers. Their sophomore year, they got 5 more offers. Then their junior year, they got a few more offers. But then by the time their senior year, they done had 27 D1 offers, but then they pick something lesser. Do you think that is the situation where it's like
absolutely
a lot of these schools are just offer, but you don't fit what they need at the moment?
Exactly. And you weren't as good as they thought you was going to be.
They don't like hearing that.
When they offered you, but it's not that. It's like I tell my kids, like, this don't mean stop working just because you got an offer.
Right.
That means, okay, I got this money waiting for me if I get to it. But I got to grind and work to get to that. Okay, there's steps in the process like everywhere else. You don't get to skip them just because you got an offer as a freshman or an 8th grader. You still
and a lot of people don't know about those steps.
So basically, one, academically, first and foremost. All right, tell everybody, core GPA and GPA is totally different. Your core classes are just that, your math, science, social science, your foreign language, okay? 10 of those got to be locked in by your junior year.
Okay? See, these are the gems, like I told you before, these are the things that a lot of you've done a lot of interviews. Yeah. You've done a lot of interviews with a lot of, like, big time people that's done this.
You big time too.
But don't do that. But I've never heard, and that's why I told you I wanted to talk to you about the things that they never really dig into, like the transformer transactional, the feeder thing, and now the recruiting thing. A lot of people don't understand that there's things you got to register for. There's a difference between your normal GPA and your core GPA.
Yep.
They don't understand you got to have a certain amount of foreign classes. They think you can just take your core classes and it's okay.
Man.
They don't understand that the process is a lot harder than what they, like, was it clearinghouse or something?
Clearinghouse, and eligibility center.
So explain a little more, touch on what, because a lot of people don't even know, they hear clearinghouse and they think that old school people used knocking the door with a check. So explain a little more what the clearing, like what exactly that does for you.
So, and I'm going to say this, I just had, not this past Thursday before, a parent meeting for rising seniors about NCAA eligibility and clearinghouse. All right, because once you walk through the doors as a senior, you can't make up any classes behind you.
So if you don't have, so hold on. So let's say you don't have the foreign classes you need.
Now, whatever you take is current, you can have it. What I mean by make up, let's say you got a D, you can't make it up once you walk through the doors your senior year, okay?
So if I need an algebra 1, right?
Yep.
and I failed it my freshman year.
Yep.
I can't wait until my senior year and say, yo, I need that algebra 1.
Yeah, you already make it up.
I got to make it up my junior year or before.
Yep. And like I tell my kids, right? Any C's you got, you're going to have to make them up at some point. Like, you get a C, a D, or F, it's going to have to be made up at some point because now the core GPA is risen to a 2.3, which means all C's don't even get you there. All right? Other thing I tell people is 3.0 core is where you want to be. All right?
So say that. I don't mean to cut you off.
No.
I'm on my Vlad shit now. Because you got to say that again.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they comprehend. A lot of people hear you talk, but they don't really pick up on what you're saying. And what you're trying to explain to them is this isn't 1997, 2001. Them C's ain't going to cut it. So that whole, I got 3 C's, an A, and a B, that's not it.
That ain't it.
That ain't going to get it done.
Like you said, a 2.3 core. All C's is a 2.0. Like I tell my guys, all C's doing is somebody put them floaty devices on your arm.
And just
it's keeping you
from one side to the other.
It's keeping you above the water. You ain't gaining no ground. You ain't losing. You ain't drowning
either. If you slip one time, you're going under.
Yeah, so that's one thing. The other part of it is why 3.0 is so important is your opportunities when you got a 3.0 or better are here.
Okay.
Once you get under 3.0, your talent better be this because your opportunities do like this. All right, let's talk.
So in order to balance it, you got to your talent got to be so far. If your GPA is below a 3, your talent got to be.
Your talent got to be worth me waiting. Got to be worth me waiting because now what they've done to hold college accountable. If I offer you, if I offer you and you sign, you don't make it, I still lose that scholarship. Before they could give it to somebody else.
So okay. Because I went on a visit, the college coach and told me they had a certain amount of scholarships that they could give. So, but he didn't tell me that part. So what you're saying is, if I accept,
and then you don't qualify,
if it's an official offer, and I accept, but I don't meet the qualifications, you don't get that offer back. It's just gone.
And as a college coach, forget you, I don't get that scholarship back to give to nobody else. That's how the NCAA started holding the schools accountable. Because before, I could sign, and if I didn't qualify,
they can just take that joint.
Here, let me give it to him. Nah, now I don't got it.
So once you sign, this is just gone.
That university don't get it back to give it to somebody else.
So that's why like you said, number one, academics, because the academics guarantees that you're at least academically eligible.
All right, I'm going to give it to everybody because everybody not going to Oklahoma. Tell my kids this very same thing. All right, 3.0. All right, let's say you got William & Mary, Howard, schools that are FCS. The FBS schools have 84 scholarships. They got big money. They can come in here and look at freshmen, 8th graders, and project their money all the way out, right?
Right.
FCS schools, D2 schools don't have that much money. So they're not going to ask to see freshmen and sophomores because their scholarships don't go that. Yeah, they got to get this. Now, these schools, William & Mary give you a full scholarship, right? But if I'm William & Mary and you got all A's and I can get you some academic money and then I don't have to give you all my athletic money,
50,
that leaves me money to give
to somebody who can't get it academically.
Okay, so now, no, they're playing that game. Now, if you're really good, I'll give you all the athletic scholarship, right?
But if you
I don't have to,
you a 70, 30, 60, 40,
and then I say I'm gonna do that. Okay.
Got you.
D2s only package scholarships. They only package it. It's not a full. It might end up you don't pay anything, but
because grants and loans.
Not necessarily
but the
loans.
School not necessarily giving you a.
Man, when I have my exit meetings with my parents, I do this. I put $26,000 a year up there. It goes to go to the school. All right, I'm gonna give you an athletic scholarship of $9,000. All right, not a loan, Pell Grant, whatever, financial aid. You qualify for $5,000.
Okay.
All right, so that leaves at what? 14 out of 26. All right. Dang, you got over a 3.0? Shoot, I can get you some academic. Here go 3,000, or here goes 6,000.
Got you.
You first generation college student in your family? Oh, here go another 2,000.
Got you.
if you take agriculture, even if you don't want to learn about it, just sign up for
take
it.
So
I can get you
some of that money.
All right, so that's how they pack. Like I tell my parents, if you're academic under 3.0,
they can't package.
I can't even give you that piece. So now you're gonna leave your balance.
Be a major piece.
A major piece. Some schools is $8,000.
I was gonna say they don't get out a lot of academic. So that's a lot of money sitting there.
Now D3 schools. I tell all my parents, y'all frown your face up. Oh my God, it's nasty. D3. My son's better than that. Let me tell you something. D3 schools are private most of the time. They more expensive than the D2 and D1 schools. Their facilities and stuff, it's not going to be as huge as an Oklahoma, but it's going to be nicer than some school in Timbuktu, West Virginia.
Correct.
And like I tell my kids and families, you want to be in a position, like, listen, man, I'm a ball. And we know this. We didn't play semi-pro. When you run out there to play ball, it's going to feel like ball.
It's going to feel like ball, no matter where you at.
But when ball over and you in Glenville, West Virginia, you going to say, man, I'm in Glenville, West Virginia. When I could go to Shenandoah, better quality of life. I ain't trapping it out. I'm right here by JMU. So I tell people, you might have to choose quality of life over ball. If I go to Christopher Newport, ain't a D2 school got better facilities than Christopher Newport?
And I've heard that before.
It's right by Virginia Beach.
You're right there.
Beautiful campus, diverse campus, if that's what you want. Accessible, or go to Timbuktu, Kentucky, and just to say, I'm playing D2. Now, if you got 3.0 and you got high academics, you can make those choices.
Right.
If you don't, you got to go to Timbuktu, wherever, because you can't get none of this D3 money because all their money got to be academic.
So with the transfer portal right now, with the recruiting portal, because you got a couple of ballers, with the transfer portal going right now, all right, and we talking about recruiting. I hear a lot of people say, look to go D2 your first year. Get your numbers up, get your film up, and then transfer. What is your, I see the look you just made. What is your thoughts on that? Like, do you feel like the transfer portal is, if you're really a kid that has put in the work to where you're getting recruited on a high level, do you feel like the transfer portal is affecting those kids, or like it's only affecting in certain areas?
I'm gonna say this because I don't want to miss what you told me to say last one. Last piece with the academic. High school counselors, if you're not blessed, I brought a guy on, Coach Jones, who was coaching North Carolina, but he was an NCAA counselor. High school counselors don't always know the NCAA requirements. Their job is to make sure you graduate and you don't bring down that school's dropout rate and their graduation rate, which is transaction based on money to the state. All right, high school counselors don't know. All right, I came here, 2 young men. We had this meeting last Thursday. I done brought this boy down here to talk to all these coaches. He got no foreign language. Now, then
you're a senior.
They're about to be seniors. All right, so again, so I'm like, okay.
And how many foreign languages do you have to have?
All right, so I tell him, you got to have at least 2 years, and they got to be what? Sequential. They got to be French 1, French 2.
It can't be French 1
and Spanish 1. All right, then the high academic schools want you to have 3 a lot of times. They want you to have 3.
So they got to take 2. They got to take 1 and 2 in the same senior year.
So listen, here we go. This is where I'm telling parents that these 4 years, the mistakes you make can cost you. Coach O know this. People on my staff know this. Forget that. I'm in school the next day. The counselor come to me. He asked me, do it got to be sequential? I was like, yeah, but they got to be back to back. All right, so first thing, different places call it a different thing. Hey, well, we'll get them this foreign language in Twilight, what they call it in Prince William County.
Nice school.
NCAA don't take Twilight. It got to be coded correctly. So all classes are coded. And the code got to be a certain code to be NCAA. Now, if your counselor with it in here, they can ask the AP or somebody to code it so that they take it. But by itself, it's not.
Ain't gonna happen. Somebody has to put it in the work.
Here at Mentum, that's not NCAA. They don't take that. All right? Prince William County and other places, here, we want to get our kids to pass. Oh, you got a C in Algebra 1. Cool. Here, you take AFDA next year. Or you take NCAA consider them the same what?
Same thing.
They consider the same thing, but the school system don't. That's just an example. It might be called something else somewhere else. So you got to make sure that.
So you got it's almost like, not to try to flip it back that, but it's almost like youth ball. Your conference might have one rule, but the national rule book might say something different.
So again, they don't know this. All right. Same thing, like you said, with one, I want to make sure that they knew that about the foreign language piece.
Yeah, that's huge because, like I said, we talked about it before, but a lot of men, you had a private conversation. Yeah. And I told you, I don't think a lot of people know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and now stuff that I know is good is like Virtual Virginia. Okay. Those are accepted. Like me, I was a Richard Milburn kid. I had to go to night school at the church where you paid $600, and basically as long as you went there every day and smiled, you got an A.
You got an A.
NCAA don't take that no more. You can't do that type of stuff. It has to be a physical teacher. Now, a kid that need to just graduate can take Edmonton, can take Twilight.
But if you're trying to go to college, they're not going to accept it.
It's over with, right? You done.
See, and again, this is what I wanted to talk about because this is a lot of stuff. See, parents think that you go through your 4 years of high school, you play real good football, you get your name in some papers and some articles, the colleges start coming, you say, I do. Or they say, do you want to come here? You say, yes, I do. And then boom. But it's not that.
No, not at all. It's, again, high schools have become based on school system, period, on litigation. We don't want to get sued. Don't sue us. So we're not going to, yes, you can make this work up from 5 weeks ago because we don't want your parents to sue us, right? Instead of the accountability, do your work like all of us had to go through, where once they wrote it in that little square, you was fried. You was fried. You couldn't. There wasn't no computer. Once she wrote it,
that's the answer, dog. That's the answer.
But even the teacher, once the teacher wrote on the
squares, once they put the square
with that red pen 0, that thing was dead.
You better hope she got extra credit at the end of it, because if not, you short.
You short. So the accountability piece is missing, right? So that's what I love about the football part is I can hold them accountable.
Right.
Like, nah, this ain't gonna cut it. So that's most important. In the other part, like you tell people, just one, make sure you are up to date with the transcript stuff all the way through. And kids and families know, if you get a C, you're gonna have to make it up.
So when is the best? I tell kids, and I say it because I believe it, but when do you think it's, like I tell kids, once you hit the 8th grade year, don't wait until your freshman year to get in high school to start preparing for that. I feel like that's something that you want to start doing the 8th grade year, where as far as the kids and the parents, making sure that you know in touch with that type of stuff and locked in with that stuff. When do you feel like parents should really start focusing in on preparing for, because like we said, we know everybody not going to college.
Yeah.
At what grade do you feel the parents need to start locking in on making sure they understand all of that stuff? When should they register for the clearinghouse? Like when is?
I would do it, like you said, right after my freshman year, but you need to know it immediately, right? You should be aware of it immediately, right? Because again, from a standpoint of it allows you to hold your child accountable. Like, right, you saying, go do your homework because I told you, or, hey, you said you wanted to go to college and play football. You have to get a B in this class or better. Period. End of discussion. Right?
Right.
Cool.
Whichever route you want to go.
Whichever
if
route
you just want to
graduate,
graduate, cool.
Cool.
But if you said you want to do this, then this is what it has to be.
So we as parents and coach, we holding you to that. Right? And like I tell my parents, everybody's academic burdens don't fall on me, but we need to find a way together to make it important to him. Because it's always going to be important to us as parents and coaches.
Right.
But until it's important to him, so this is where I think the big thing with the coaches coming through, right? Boom. They see it. Oh, now you embarrassed. Here go Coach O right here. I got all my kids' transcripts right here in folders. When coaches come here, ready to go. I pick it up. I pick it up. Right here, ready to go. Right? Now you sitting in the table, and you like, man, Coach O about to grab my transcript.
Grab my transcript.
And give it to this coach. All right?
And you know what's in it.
Hey, mom and daddy and Coach O love you. So we're going to listen to, hey, my stomach was hurt, and then my mom took my homework. But when I give it to that coach, ain't no place to write no excuse
all that
on
in
it.
Ain't no comment section. It's just a transcript.
Comment. So now that piece allows it to be tangible and important to the kids. It's not for show, for Facebook. It's so the kids like, man, I got to go in that room and get my transcript to this coach and sit at the table with my peers, and he gonna look at mine and say, hey man, look at this. I got two great kids here, great kids. Brown University, Ivy League. Parents, listen to this. There's a whole bunch of high academic schools, Brown, Lehigh, Penn, Georgetown, that would love to get athletes. You might not be getting recruited by West Virginia, but this D1 football. But guess what? We got a kid, he's like, Coach, I love this kid, let me see. We can't have a 1C on the transcript. I said, when? This year? All 4 years.
1C in 4 years.
Coach, I can get past the C, but he got this D in his freshman year in biology. We can't take him. Now listen, this boy about to go D1. He got a D as a freshman.
So Brown
now they can't take him.
They can't take him.
Their admin department.
And they got money. We talking Ivy League school. We talking
this
about
dude,
alumni. We talking about.
Listen, this dude is mad as me. He's like, Coach, I really want him. I can't do nothing. They won't let me have him.
They can't even work around it.
Not at Brown, Harvard, Georgetown.
Because they're not actually academic schools.
But it's D1. So now we can make it. Now that boy, man, what that boy been doing since that happened to him?
Grinding.
Oh man, what we talking about again? I told his parents, you get a COD, you're gonna have to make it up at some point, cause you cutting your opportunities down.
Window getting small.
These schools not gonna get the Jeffs, the Chris Joneses, the Jujus. I don't want to leave nobody out nowhere. Even the Michael Cantys.
Right.
They know they're not gonna get them. But I want him if he got the grade. Let me get Matt Holland. He a beast.
And he got the grade.
He got it.
He got the grade.
I'll take him. You see what I'm saying? So that's a big piece that parents miss. There's a whole Duquesne, there's a whole athletic conference, high academic conference outside of the Ivy League. You know, Davidson with Steph Curry with. Yeah. What's up? All right, then me and you and other coaches, because again, I'm not the only person. But again, it still come back to transformation. Man, you're taking these kids to all these schools, your coaches taking them, because you got to show them the dream is real. You got to show them
and that's what I told my wife. Like,
I never saw it as...
I never seen it.
Now, my mom was like, you
myself.
going to college, you good. I'm like, all right, I ain't seen a college till I went on a visit. I ain't seen it. I ain't walked in no college. I stepped foot on a college campus in the 9th, 10th grade, I probably would have been a better student early on too. Because I would have been, okay, this is where I'm going to be. Make no mistake about it, this is where I'm going to be.
I'll be the first to admit it. I got good grades during football season. Yeah. After that, I didn't give it that.
This is where I'm going to be. Ain't no way I'm not going to be a good student. So that's why we do all that, right? It ain't for show. And again, I'm the other side of this. Recruiting, right? Coaches, head coaches. Who cares who do it and who get the credit? I don't care if Jeff do it, if Chris do it, if Cousins do it. I don't care if BT do it. BT handle a lot of our recruiting stuff. I don't care as long as the kids get the opportunity. It ain't got to be me. Yeah. I don't got to be the gatekeeper. As long
as the end result is the kids get the opportunity.
Hey, we talked to this person. Cool. Come on.
But that goes to endgame. We talked about that.
Absolutely.
A lot of people got different endgames.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people look at endgame as in just like endgame for youth football, or endgame for middle school, or endgame for high school. And we talked about it. When you told me that when you talk about endgame, you look at the whole thing, from the youth all the way up. When you look at endgame, what is your definition? Because you know everybody got their own opinion on what's what. What is your definition of endgame? Like, what does endgame mean to you? Like, what does that phrase mean to you?
Most importantly, just putting kids in a position, to better themselves through education, right? Like, I tell every parent, we're going to have a meeting, and it's important to me that you get free education or get it paid for, right? Because that has transformational, generational impact, right?
Long term.
That's what's important to me. At some point as a parent, you're going to start saying which free educations aren't good enough. Not me. I'm never going to say Shepherd ain't good enough. Howard ain't good enough. You're going to start saying that. And the end game is just that. One, developing young men that are a good person. It don't matter if you listen to rap, Lil Durk, if you listen to Cameo, you still can be a good person.
Right.
It don't matter how you dress, you still can be a good person. That's the other thing about taking kids on college campuses, right? We went all these places. Do you see anybody walking around with a ski mask on, with the pants sagging?
Nope.
Do you see that?
Can't do it.
Do you see it?
Can't do it.
That's only happening here.
Yeah.
All right. So, regardless, you can still be a good person.
Right.
All right. I want to make sure we develop good people. Other than that, I want people that's going to be, like you said, go on to school, graduate, and like you said, generational impact, man. Better your family, do all those things. Like, that's the end game, right? It's not youth. I want to win. Don't get it twisted.
Right. Everybody wants to win. Because like you said, we don't get paid. Like in the youth world, we don't get paid. Our pay, and I've told parents this, just because you say, I'm not all about winning, doesn't mean I don't want to win. That is our payday. Yeah. When we go out there and get the W, okay, we did our thing this week, we did what we're supposed to do. That is our pay. So, like you said, don't get it twisted. You definitely want to win, but the winning isn't.
And like you said, the end game is, for me, with PME, that is having impact as a whole on our community, right? All of us, softball, girls AU. What that got to do with AYF, play action? None.
Nothing.
That's not most important to me. That's why you're not going to see me on no comment, cracking jokes about no nonsense, because that's only one part of what I'm trying to do.
Right.
And football is football. I love it. I love the game. But like you said, 7-on-7, all these people, man, every coach in Prince William County almost did 7-on-7 with me at some point. Nobody ever talks about that. They all been out there coaching with me.
That's what I listen.
With me.
That's why I said, how you go from the boogeyman to now it's cool.
They all with me.
It's weird.
So I'm okay if your son ain't at Hayfield, ain't at Freedom. I'm okay. You know, when people call me and ask me for help, do I get on Facebook and say, oh, why y'all coaches ain't doing this? Why I gotta help this kid get in school? I don't do that. Cool. Let's do it. Man, shoot. Me and DJ done had a conversation. Me and Coach Johnson just had a conversation the other day about a kid. He don't play for me. Cool. Let's try to link him like this. Let's do this, right? Because he care, and he know I care about the kid. I don't care that they don't play for me. That's not, now, I'm going to love mine first.
You're supposed to.
Absolutely. But they don't got to be in orange and black, purple, lime green. You've been at this, you know how many people I done gave pants to and stuff that come to Freedom to play, people in PME, because they ain't got no pants, or I had to give them a helmet. If it was about the game, I'd be like, no, his ass ain't going to play. Then we ain't got to worry about it. I still went and found them pants or something to play the game.
Right.
Because it ain't about that. So, you know, the end game for me is that, like you said, moving my whole community forward. Again, cheer, right? All those things, like, that's what it's about.
Softball. Kiki won championships already with softball.
That group, I mean.
That's touching a whole other, but like you said, that's touching a whole other part of your community.
Funny thing is this, transformational, Lust, they're the Lust family that actually coach and do the team mom.
Okay.
They called me yesterday. They got 12U, and I think 10U softball. And hey, coach, how can we generate recruiting for these girls when they get to 14U? Already on it. We see all the stuff transformation. I said, hey, listen, that's a new round for me, but I'm going to put you in contact with this person, and they're going to tell you.
They do.
Right? So, again, a transformation relationship, end game for me. Now, softball, all right, forget it. They got every denomination out there, race, whatever.
Right.
But they got a lot of brown girls out there.
Correct.
Which is a sport that we usually don't get introduced to.
Like baseball. Right now, they looking at my niece like a superstar. I had because she's a brown skin girl out there dogging it.
Even boys lacrosse we had one year. But the guy that was doing it, he was doing it based on transaction. So when he wasn't getting the transaction he thought he was going to get, he lost interest.
Which hurt the kids in the long run.
Hurt the kids. So we was trying to even get that because none of us play that.
Yeah.
If you look at freedom, forget football impact. When I left, the lacrosse season it's over. Because now the football players saying,
ain't there.
They ain't doing it no more. Not that they wasn't there, they was there. But when stuff happened, Coach O could go say, put your stuff back on, go back out there and play. Like, y'all tripping.
Now Coach O ain't done it.
That's over with. All right?
Yeah.
But I always said that's another opportunity. I don't care that you play football, do it. Play basketball. That's another play. Like you said.
It helps you.
So the end game is not a youth football game, right? That's just a step in the process. And I'm going to tell you where it's a really important step, not just for kids, but for parents. With accountability, dedication.
Yeah.
Right? So now when you get the freedom, Hayfield, St. Michael, Lake
wherever you go.
And I say, and your coach say, we got practice at 6:30 in the morning. Oh, that ain't none of these parents. Oh, let's go.
We ready to go.
We done got on the road 10 times to go do this.
Yeah, we done it before.
So it's not just the kids you getting ready.
You getting the
parents
ready.
We need something to eat. Oh, it's on the way. Man, my parents filled the bus up at the state championship 2 years in a row with snacks and stuff. They didn't complain. We used to this.
This is the norm.
We used to this. So it's not just kids that you getting ready in the end game.
You're getting the parents. It's the total package.
The parents to be there for their kids. Because that's what falls off as kids get older.
Yeah, because
it's the parent involvement.
As you coaching the older age group,
you picking everybody up.
No bull. Like the parents, I've seen parents who's been there every practice, every day, all the way up until 12, 13.
You get home, everybody calling their driveway. Like, what the heck I'm bringing home for?
Yeah, that's a fact.
What I'm bringing home for?
That's a fact. The older you get in age groups, the less they show up. That is a fact.
What I'm bringing them home for? So it's like you said, the end game is showing everybody, the kids, even the coaches, right, that this is where we going. All right, I'm gonna say this, and people can take away what they want. If you look, most PME teams run some sort of power. I've had clinics, people ask me, man, why you run wing T with the youth? All y'all run some type of power. It don't matter if it's single wings or one. Other people, y'all all run, but in high school, you run spread, this, spread that. Yeah, because at its core, football is about blocking and tackling.
Yep.
And if you can't block and you can't tackle, it don't matter what you run. All right, now, when you in power, I got people come to me with a slot. He 10 years old. My son plays slot. What do you mean he plays slot? He can't run the ball. he can't block. Right?
He only plays slot. He can't run the ball. He can't block.
So one thing that we've done a great job at PME is developing football players.
Not positions.
Be a specialist when you get to college. Because when me and you play, if you was the best person, in every game, you was at quarterback, receiver,
everywhere.
You was at DN,
Man,
you was at safety on third down.
I call them Band-Aid players.
You was everywhere.
If I gotta bleed, you let go over here. You play right here.
So you was everywhere. You was a football player.
Football player.
Now parents want to be specialists.
They're positionless.
Other thing I love about our organization, and again, I can't take all the credit. My coaches do a good job. That they have teams where there's multiple good players. So
it's not based around one kid.
All right, let's cut into it, man. It's not based around one kid. Forget that. You cannot get better until there's competition in practice.
Period.
You can't. I'm gonna say this: girls basketball. We had a good team the last 2 years before this, I thought, right? But in practice, when we did 5-on-5, those other 5 people were not good at all, really. But once I got 5 other good basketball players, now we could do a lot more schematic stuff, getting ready. It's no mystery that Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, every year is good. Because in practice, you can't duplicate what Patrick Surtain went through, and he guarded Henry Ruggs, Waddle, Devontae Smith every day.
You're not going to have a full team.
You can't.
The opponent's not going to have a team full of them.
You can't duplicate it.
You can't duplicate it.
So, now I got kids trying to tackle Jeff Overton every day. That ain't happening nowhere else.
Week. And they're not going to see a Jeff every week.
Somebody trying to cover Juju every day.
Every day.
That ain't happening.
50 reps a day.
That ain't happening.
Even if he gets toasted 49 out of them 50 times when you put another receiver from another
I tell
school,
people,
it's kind of like when I tell the kids that, like I tell people about Juwan's 9U. He played them up at 10U or 7-on-7.
Yeah.
So when they get out there against 9-year-olds, it's too easy.
Hey, my son went through it. Bless his soul. Vershawn is at South Carolina. Fuga's at Tech. They was whooping him every day, bro. I'm talking about putting him on the ground. And they be like, Coach O, get your son off the ground. Man, senior year, he was a killer.
He was a killer.
Him and Jabril, all those guys.
Been through it.
So that's what we've been able to reproduce every year is that. Of course, EJ and them was good. Y'all not seeing when they was guarding Amari, who's at Syracuse starting every day.
Every day.
When they was trying to get open on Jaden Smith, who's at Norfolk State starting every day. You get what I mean? And that's what I love about good. You can't be scared to be around other good kids. Parents, you cannot be scared to be around other good kids.
But that's the problem that we're facing right
better.
now. They don't like their end goal is their kid being the best kid on the team rather than him having the best opportunity. And you're not going to get, and I said again, when you go against top players in practice, when you get on that field, if those teams if those opponents that you're playing against aren't the caliber of kids that you're playing against at practice, they don't stand a chance. It's going to be an easy walk in the park.
Of course, Jeff is good and got better.
Right.
But Devin Reeves and Braxton Hunt play middle linebacker. Every day when we do best on best, they trying to get him.
Every day.
They trying to get him.
Iron sharpens iron.
And that's the part, man, that, like you said, for whatever reason, we start to get away from it. You know what I mean? We start to get away from it. And, you know what I mean? Like you said, can't let people lie to us. It's only one way to have accountability, and that's it.
And that's it.
And people try to and I learned that even with the girls. Like, you coach the girls like that, yeah. And they don't care about me yelling at them and stuff. They know I love them.
Accountability.
When the game over, we smiling. We joking and laughing like the boys. But in the moment, yes, you are accountable to be doing this. Period. End of discussion. And like you said, so the end game has always been everybody. Like, try not to leave people behind and move our families forward. So everybody not doing the same thing. Like I tell the kids, a big thing to touch them all the time is your little brother and sister watching you. What type of example are you? When you at home, cussing your mother out. So when you leave, that's what your brother or sister gonna do. Thing. Like, that's a big touching part that I do with them. Like, everybody, right, they look at our kids, tatted up, dreads, you don't know, they got 3.7s, 3.6, 3.5, 3.2, 3.12.
True student
athletes. All of them, 3.9. Like, you missing it, but that's okay.
Right.
That's okay. That's okay. But they doing it. And then, like you said, man, this last part I gave, like, it's moving our community forward, and people always going to try to pull at you when you progressing.
And that's crazy because I was getting ready to say before we ended, I got to ask, now that you're here, it's a new chapter, I got to ask. Because I know last time we talked what the number was. How many times? Because again, and when I do interviews, I like for people to be able to get the opportunity to clear, not saying they have to. You get what I'm saying? How many times because I seen when the article came out, I seen somebody say in the comments, y'all still chasing. You know, I used to call it a witch hunt all the time. How many times, because I seen somebody say a number, but I want to hear the truth. How many times were you actually, and we know clearly it wasn't no felony because you was never suspended. Never suspended.
Never.
How many times were you investigated while working at Freedom? And I don't want you to say nothing that might get you in trouble.
No, I'm not.
How many times working at Freedom High School?
17.
Jeez Louise. And you
listen though.
How many years? But you was only there like for 5 or 6 years.
9 years.
9 years.
But this is the thing though, like it could have been about my car. I literally got questioned about where I parked my car. All right. Literally, I got questioned about that, where I was parking my car. But this is the thing, man, and it's sad, all right? And I'm gonna give you this piece, and I'm gonna talk to him tomorrow. We might have to wait for press play.
And just like that, I had to turn this 2-part interview into a 3-part interview. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do about it. But unfortunately, clearly, there's some things still be going on in the background There's some things that's still being looked into and some things that's got to be straightened out before we drop part 3. Because I'm telling you now, part 3, Coach O really gets in his bag about all the crap and all the things that him and his staff had to go through while at the other spot. Once they get it cleared up, plus some of the things that they're still going through as a staff, him as a head coach, some of the things that he's still going through that has followed him from here to there. Or there to here, however you want to say it. But either way it goes, he's still got some things going on that folks are trying to do. And once they get cleaned up and cleared up and I get the green light, as he said, the press play, go ahead, we will drop number 3. But I had to put out part 2 because the academic part was something that a lot of parents needed to hear. The recruiting part and getting an understanding of that, to me, was very important for a lot of parents to hear. So I had to drop 2. But once the green light hits, once Coach D.O. gives me the green light after he talks to his AD and his principal and all that good stuff, we will drop part 3. Hopefully it'll be ready by Friday like I promised. Hopefully we'll get the green light by Friday. But if not, just hold on. Once everything clears up and gets out in the opening, then we'll drop part 3. And some of the things he talk about is going to have a lot of you people shocked at what goes on in the political part and the things that they have to deal with to get to where they are and to build the program that they had to build while at Freedom, and now I'm trying to rebuild the program at Hayfield. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you're locked in. Like, follow, subscribe. Hit the YouTube channel, subscribe. I told you we're going to be putting so much fire content on our YouTube that you don't want to miss it. I'm talking from interviews to highlights, coaches, kids, parents, you name it. We're going to have it on there, man. Make sure you tap in, continue to follow, and continue to support LLR, Local Locker Network, man. You know the vibes, you know